Bear Scat Donuts, located on Broadway across from Minot State Campus.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Out. I'm David Phillips.
And I'm Josh Strong.
Good to see you, Josh. And if you missed us over the past couple weeks, there's a pretty darn good reason for that. We were working behind the scenes to bring Minot State men's and women's basketball live, which we did last Friday, and had a great time doing that. So we're glad to be back with our normal broadcast. Big shout out to the Red and Green newspaper, who did a great story about the broadcasting department. And I wonder who wrote that story.
Well, I do believe it was our very own Shalom Bear, and she's with us tonight.
Yep, that was me. I got to do a little bit of floor reporting the night of, and then once we were done with our broadcast, I had to go quick write the article, so it was a really long night, but it was a great time, so it was definitely worth it.
Definitely a work behind the scenes.
Yes, for sure. So students who graduate in summer or fall of 2019 will need to fill out their graduation application soon. The form has been condensed from two to one pages. It is available on the Minot State website on the registrar's page. Applications are due to the registrar's office by March 22nd. The registrar's office is located on the first floor of the administration building. Students will no longer have to submit their graduation applications to their advisors. Once the application has been submitted, the registrar's office will email students and their advisors with more information about graduation. Someone in the U.S. needs blood every 2 seconds. That's according to Vitalant. Kyle Ludwig explains how the simple donation saves lives.
Donating blood can be as easy as sitting in a chair for 10 minutes. According to Vitalant, nearly 40% of the U.S. population is eligible to donate, but less than 10% actually do.
The needle. They are scared to get poked, but I think we are pretty well trained and pretty well good with sticking a needle.
Almost 30% fewer people are donating now than at the beginning of the decade.
It can be uncomfortable, but they kind of just, they try to make you as comfortable as you can be.
Although it can be a strange sensation, these donors agree it is well worth it.
A pint of blood can actually save up to 3 lives or 97 babies.
A donation of red blood cells can last up to 42 days on the shelf, but it rarely goes unused. Approximately 36,000 units of red blood cells are donated to patients across the U.S. every day.
We need more blood. We can never not stop needing blood.
Which makes each blood drive essential in saving lives.
Just knowing it helps just makes me feel better.
For MSU Inside Out, I'm Kyle Ludwig.
Vitalant isn't a new company, just a new name. United Blood Services rebranded back in September, but it's still the same company. So I've given blood only once before. Does the needle or anything freak you guys out if you ever had to give blood before?
I've given blood a few times, and I really, it's not as scary, and the phlebotomists who do it are very well trained, so it doesn't even hurt. Phlebotomist, not a bad word.
Yeah, that is quite a word. That's throwing me back to weather words real quick right there, talking like that.
Well, being stuck by a needle sometimes is scary, but our weather's been kind of scary cold.
Yes, unfortunately, we are way below average for the month of February. It's actually one of the coldest Februaries on record for the state, unfortunately. But right now, the temperatures aren't so bad. As you can see across the map, we have teens across the state, except in Bismarck. Bismarck are our lucky winners for today. Look at them, 21 degrees. Like, that's gotta feel like practically Hawaii with the weather that we've been having lately. I was sitting in my car earlier today, and it had been sitting in the sun in between classes, and I was like, it's warm, it's spring. So I've been here too long if it's starting to feel warm with 16 degrees. But I think part of that is to do with the fact that thankfully we don't have a lot of wind right now. The wind is less than 10 miles an hour across the entire state. So it's beautiful even though it's below average, we're seeing a lot better temperatures than we have had. Now, our men's baseball team will be traveling to Pueblo, Colorado for a big game against that college over there, Pueblo College in Colorado. On Friday, it's supposed to be a beautiful day for gameplay. They're going to have 62 degrees, and the wind is supposed to be the worst part about the day. It's supposed to be almost 20 miles per hour that day, so that's a bit unfortunate for them. Hopefully it doesn't throw off their curveballs or anything too bad over there, but I think our Minot boys can deal with it. The day they're going to want to look out for is going to be Saturday. On Saturday, they have a 70% chance of rain or snow, just depending on how cold it actually feels. So that's really unfortunate. Hopefully it doesn't get their game canceled. Maybe it'll move out of the way by Saturday, but until then, good luck to them. Here is our forecast for the rest of the week here in Minot. The main thing I want to point out is it's going to be windy. Windy, and that's not on Sunday. The wind is supposed to be around 30 miles per hour, and it won't calm down until about Wednesday. I'm sorry about that. On Wednesday, it'll finally calm down. So once it does calm down, Josh, I think that will be a little, feel more music to your ears since it's going to be less windy.
Absolutely, and speaking of music, a good way to actually stay inside and stay warm on Saturday night is to go to Movie Magic with the Minot Symphony Orchestra. With me is Emerson Eads to talk a little more about that. So tell me more. The fight song and the alma mater is making its premiere with an orchestra piece.
Yeah, so this is really a spectacular event. Obviously, the show itself by the symphony is going to incorporate a lot of music that you've known from famous movies. But first on the agenda is the Minot State University Choir will all come out in jerseys and sing the newly written alma mater. And it will have its premiere, the version with orchestra will have its premiere on Saturday.
Right, and that will be a really special night just to see the choir and everyone in sports jerseys, and to hear this song. It should almost put like a little more pep in the step of Minot State and the music department, right? Yeah,
so the song itself, the alma mater that you'll hear on Saturday the text was written by the first librarian here at Minot State, Hulda Lucille Winstead, and the text is very evocative of the plains of the opening line is "To the red and green forever, colors of the free." So there's this real sense of community and connection to the land, Saturday's concert will be the premiere of the orchestral version, which will be all the bells and whistles, thrown into this piece to make it really fantastic. And I'm so excited for everyone to get a chance to hear it. And actually, so is the choir. The choir is very excited about singing this because they premiered it in the fall on our first concert, and now it gets a chance to hit a wider audience.
Of course, and the first librarian, that's a piece rich in history, and now a big impact on the future. And speaking of the future, you're bringing this piece with your trip to Norway, correct?
Yes, yeah. So, I want to go back to Hulda Lucille Winstead, because she was also like kind of the poet laureate here in Minot. And she if you look back at old newspapers, she's written stuff, all the way back. And now her stuff is being performed now and being adopted by Minot State University. So that's really exciting. And then it will get its European performance in May when we go to Skien, Norway, and perform it with the Skien Orchestra and Choir. So
that's amazing, just for everything to kind of come full circle like that. Well, I appreciate you coming by, Emerson Eads, and after this short break, Taylor Rosario will give us a little sneak peek of her senior project, Beaver Backstories.
Thank you to all of our underwriters.
All American Trophies, for all your screen printing and embroidery needs.
ArtMade, offering custom frames, art supplies, and jewelry.
Buffalo Wings and Rings, a sports restaurant experience located in South Minot.
Badlands Bar and Grill, located on 31st Avenue in Minot. Fiance, with all your prom and bridal needs, located in downtown Minot.
KCJB 910 AM, Minot's news and information station.
Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports.
KIZZ FM Z94, playing today's hit music.
Mix 99.9, Minot's Music Mix.
Happy Joe's Pizza and Ice Cream, serving the Midwest since 1972.
KRRZ, 1390 AM, Minot's Classic Hits.
KZPR 105.3 FM, Minot's Rock Station.
Jacobson Music, bringing music to the Northern Plains since 1980.
Qdoba, easy, on time, full of flavor.
MSU Beavers Hockey, online info at msubeavers.com.
Forward Communication, connecting professionals in the Midwest.
MSU Theater Department, year-round entertainment.
The Red and Green, MSU student-run newspaper.
MSU Bookstore, for all your campus needs.
Spicy Pie, pizza, grinders, beer.
Magic City Hoagies, locally owned sandwich shop located in Southwest Minot.
Taco John's, offering fresh tacos, burritos, nachos, and breakfast. Thrivent Financial, connecting faith and finances.
PMQ Entertainment, performing at weddings, proms, and dances.
The Pursuit, creating a place in Minot where everyone is welcome.
Mouse River Players, community theater since 1971.
H-Bar-B Construction, for all your oil field needs.
Bearscat Donuts, located on Broadway across from Minot State Campus.
Welcome back, everyone, and we're going to take a look at sports now. Taylor Rosario is joining us. Let's see, how did basketball do this weekend?
I was actually, I guess the best word to describe this past week in sports was bittersweet, considering the men's and women's basketball team season ended last night. But there was also a lot of good stuff that happened this past weekend in sports. Last night marked the end of the season for both the Minot State men's and women's basketball teams. The men were knocked out of the postseason run by the University of Sioux Falls 96-51. The Cougars opened up the game with a 17-3 run and never looked back. David Akibo led the Beavers with 16 points in the loss. The MSU women's basketball team put up a strong fourth quarter fight against the Winona State Warriors. Despite the efforts, the Beavers could not hold on and fell to Winona 63-57. The Beavers trailed for nearly 32 minutes before they regained the lead late in the second half. Mariah Payne was the team's leading scorer with 22 points and was just 1 point shy of her career high. We want to congratulate both men and women's basketball teams on their seasons. It was a historic weekend for the MSU wrestling squad. Jordan Will and Jared Sublett became the second and third wrestlers in program history to earn a trip to the NCAA D2 tournament. Will knocked off Minnesota Moorhead's Jordan Magnuson to capture the 285-pound title. Sublett grabbed the second place spot on the podium for the 141-pound class with a 3-2 decision against Upper Iowa's Ryan Schmalin. Will and Sublett will travel to Cleveland, Ohio for the national tournament on March 8th and 9th. Minot State softball earned themselves a split in last weekend's second air-supported dome invitational. The Beavers split games on Friday with an 11-3 loss to the University of Mary and bounced back with an 8-0 win against Minnesota Moorhead. On Sunday, the Beavers were dominant in their first game against Minnesota Crookston. It was a show from the underclassmen as freshman Zoya Robbins pitched a 3-hit shutout to seal a 2-0 victory over the Golden Eagles. Freshman Maggie Mercer led the team on offense and was 2 for 4 on the day with 1 RBI. Robbins also contributed with her bat in the game and was 1 for 2 with 1 run scored. The Beavers met their match later in the day as they fell to the Valley City State Vikings 10-6. The Minot State football team has history of recruiting high-caliber talent from local states like Montana. I got some insight on one talented senior from the Big Sky State in the first segment of our new package series, Beaver Backstories. MSU football captain Lane Torgerson is heading into his final season as a Beaver. Last season, Torgerson was moved from receiver to running back due to lack of staff, and despite the challenges, he has always felt welcomed and supported at MSU.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the campus. I enjoyed the coaches, the teammates, everything that Minot has to offer, whether it's academic or athletic, and it just felt like home to me.
One of the strongest bonds Torgerson has created is with fellow senior Levante Bushnell. The two quickly became friends upon their arrival to campus in 2016.
It's just our motivation for each other. We push each other through everything, and Lane helps me with when I'm slacking off, Lane helps me, and that's what I really appreciate from Lane is when I'm slacking, he knows that I'm tired just like him, so he pushes me to keep going. So that's what helps me, and that's what helped us bond together closer.
This past season, Torgerson collected all NSIC honors. For Torgerson, though, it is about representing something bigger than himself.
Representing the community and the school, just being able to have something to take pride in and say, yeah, I'm part of that. That's what I'm about. This is who I'm representing. That's really the main part.
Torgerson is eager for his final year in red and green, and of course, to collect some wins. For KMSU TV, I'm Taylor Rosari. Fans can catch Torgerson and the rest of the Beavers in action at Herb Parker Stadium this fall. So you guys actually got to see a little tidbit of the first segment of my senior project, which I will be presenting next week. So that was pretty exciting for you guys to see.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea. So often you see the players, at the games on the posters, but it's kind of cool to see like their students too and their stories behind that.
Definitely so. Dual athletes in college are a rarity. It's even more rare for an athlete to excel in more than one sport. Monica Rivera is with us now with our very own Jordan Will.
You may know him from the football field and or the wrestling mat. I'm here with Jordan Will. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I know personally that being a student athlete is really hard, so how is it dealing with school and both sports?
I just got to take it one sport at a time. In fall, football gets really busy, but that's all I worry about in addition to school. And then once the season's over, I transition to wrestling and switch focus. So I just take it one sport at a time.
Considering that, how do you de-stress from both sports and school? Do you have time to relax, or what do you do?
Yeah, just like if I have time on a weekend, or if we get like a weekend off in our schedule for wrestling, just taking some time to catch up on homework, make sure I keep my body right, rehab, and just making sure that I'm feeling good all the time.
So with wrestling, I know that last season heavyweight Mitch Isle is now helping you coach, and you kind of took his spot in a thing for heavyweight, and now you're going to nationals. Has he prepared you for this, or do you feel like you're kind of nervous for the whole thing?
I feel very prepared because of what Mitch has done. He was one of our first guys in D2 to do this, and because he's been able to do it, it set the path for me, and I feel like his experience is helping me for sure.
After wrestling season, I know football spring season is coming up, so do you have a little bit of time off, or do you jump right into spring ball?
I'll have spring break off, maybe about a week once I get back to that, but it'll be right back into spring ball, trying to get ready and prepare for the fall.
And also with spring ball then comes finals, which is also very stressful, so how are you going to deal with all of that?
You know, just putting in the work during the year, like going to class every day and making sure I stay on top of everything and just always staying ahead of my homework has me set for finals at the end of the year.
Okay, well, thanks again for being here. Catch Jordan Mill in Cleveland, Ohio on March 8th for the national championship.
And thanks, Monica. That's a great accomplishment for a freshman, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and then after this short break, we're going to take a look at some things that seniors need to be worried about in their trip out.
And that includes me, which is kind of scary.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Inside Out. I'm David Phillips, and it is go time for seniors, including myself, graduating in May, which will be here in just about 70 plus days. Resumes, portfolios, job interviews, getting a job, all of that's so important. And joining us now is Linda Birch from the MSU Career Services Department. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, pleasure to have you on the show, and a lot of things to talk about. So what can we start with?
Well, like you mentioned, it is go time for seniors. We see that some seniors are preparing way in advance, and then we'll have those that maybe wait until the day before graduation, which I will encourage you not to do.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting a little worried about that, but yes. So you're here to help those procrastinators and the ones that are even a little bit more ahead of the game.
Very much so. In my office, I tell people I have one of the best offices on campus. One, I get to work with a lot of students, freshmen through alum. I get a chance to work with faculty, employers, a little bit of everything. So it's kind of it's a fun job. But this time of year, it's time for those seniors who are kind of maybe waiting till spring break to start thinking about that resume, to start thinking about the job search process. So my office is here to help. I help do a lot of resume reviews, and or if you don't already have one in place, let's talk about getting one started. And we work a lot with students that are, want to obviously put their best foot forward, sell those skills and talents. We work with students on practice interviewing. Why not when you get that lovely call for the interview, be ready.
Be ready, yeah. And be ready for all those questions that may or may not come to mind or light, and then you're sitting there and you don't want to have that deer in the headlight look when they ask you a question about exactly. What do you like most about this profession? And you go, I don't know, even though I love it and I'm passionate about it. Also, is there a program coming up we want to talk about too?
There is.
That's very important.
I work a lot one-on-one with students, but we have a lot of these group activities. And a couple things that we do in our office is we will try and match students with employers for that practice, in that real life setting. On Tuesday, on March 26th, we will have in the evening an education fair. So we've invited several or hundreds and hundreds of school districts to come on campus and meet our talented education majors. And we'll do that on a Tuesday night and turn around right away Wednesday morning, and we'll have what we call our annual MSU Career Fair, which probably is more focused on our communications, our business, our law enforcement. And so we will have a fair, and the employers coming are here to offer internships, part-time jobs, volunteer experience, and obviously a lot of those full-time positions.
So I understand this right. there's no cost because it's paid through the student fees here at Minot State.
Very much so. One thing I always tell students is be good consumers of your money. You are paying some money to keep the doors of the Career Center open. So use your money wisely and come and take advantage of my time, you know, working with you on one-on-one, but also these different events we have going on campus.
And going back to resumes, it's so important to have a fine-tuned resume that things I might think are important on a resume, the employer might not think is important. Is that one of the things that you go over to make sure that, hey, I understand that you have this passion, you have this desire, but they want to know your skill sets. They want to be able to hire you pretty much looking at this piece of paper, and that paper obviously doesn't define the person, but it does get you that chance to get the job.
Very much so. I tell students, it's the first impression about you. Is this 8.5 by 11 or 2 8.5 by 11 pages? So treat it like your business card, and that you are submitting to an employer. And the sad thing is, as I tell people, is that you're going to put some work into this resume. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes. It doesn't happen in 10 minutes. There's time put in, and an employer will read it for 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
Exactly. It's a short amount of time to get you that, possibly that interview or possibly the job. I wish we had more time to talk. Once again, the seminar coming up, putting it in, is that?
Yep, we have one on March 26th and another one on March 27th.
Right, so don't procrastinate. Make sure you get there on the 26th and 27th. Once again, Linda Birch from the MSU Career Services Center. Glad to have you in the show, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, well, let's go back and visit with Shalom with some more news. Shalom, you don't have to worry about it. You're not a senior yet.
No.
So you've got a little bit of time. So it's not go time for you as far as resumes, but it's go time for news.
Yes, and it's also go time for Hannah Davis. Minot State Broadcasting senior Hannah Davis created a senior project that teaches young students about weather.
You can be creative with this, as creative as you want. How do you think wind happens? My senior project is weather words. I went to a second grade class at Longfellow Elementary, and I went once a week on Fridays, and I told them a little bit about basic weather occurrences, so everything from wind to tornadoes. When I first started the senior project, I wanted to be a weather person, and so I was looking for a project that could meld the worlds of broadcasting as well as the world of learning weather, because I didn't know any weather yet. So I wanted to do something to teach kids about weather so that I could also learn about weather and do a twofold kind of thing. The hardest part, honestly, was probably leaving. Like, those kids, I got so attached to them by the end of the project. Like, they were hugging me and they were like, "Where are you going next? What are you doing next?" And it was like, I don't know. Because I didn't have plans to go anywhere next, and it really changed my heart, and I fell in love with those kids. And so the hardest part was just leaving, and which is why I decided to be a teacher, so that I don't have to leave and I can keep doing that stuff and teaching kids and being with them.
Davis gives her final presentation on March 20th in Alshire Theater. It'll be really sad to see Hannah go. She's done weather for a while now, but I'm very excited for her and what the rest of her future brings her.
Well, she is already a great broadcaster, and she works just so well with those students. It just comes natural to her to have those interactions, and just a fun feature to have here on Inside Out.
Yeah, so many seniors leaving. It's so sad.
But I will tell you, we have a little bit of time to talk about the broadcast that we did last Friday for the men's and women's basketball. I can tell you there is a good group of freshmen and sophomore and junior students to carry on that torch, which is always so important to have that continuity in a program. So even though some of those great seniors may be gone, there's going to be a lot of people left to continue a great tradition of broadcasting here on Inside Out and other ones as well. With that, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. We'll see y'all again next week.